Hello and welcome back to my channel and the first weigh-in of 2018. I'm still finding it quite difficult to say that and equally difficult to type it. My fingers automatically want to go to 2017 still. So here we are in 2018 and I've been to my first group meeting. Now I did say last week about the gains and the losses that had occurred in my group over Christmas, and said I thought it would be quite a reflection of what was happening across the country. Well, I just wanted to bring the figures for this week because I said I would. So this week we had approximately 145 people through the doors for the back-to-back meetings. We had 19 new members today. We had a total weight loss of £126, which is 9 stone. So that's like one less person gone, isn't it? One less person gone. Does that make sense? It's like one person gone, really, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, I thought that was quite encouraging for the first meeting after the new year. Really positive meeting because of course we had the new members talk, which will have been going on across the country. And I think even when you've been going for nearly 3 years as I have, I'm all stuttery and stumbly today. Even when you've been going for nearly 3 years, which is where I'm at, it doesn't do you any harm at all to sit in on a new members talk and just get a refresher. I can't say I heard anything I haven't heard before, but some of it actually felt more relevant. And we don't talk about things like starting to split your A and B choices. We don't talk about tweaks and tricks and tips and things. We just talk about the very basic plan. When you're given a book in our group as a newcomer, the corners of the pages for SP are folded over together and you're told disregard that part of the plan. As a newcomer, that's not for you. And some people never advance and want to use SP, but I think to actually take it back to the very basics of EE and to be told focus on free food. Don't get obsessed with speed, just consider that speed should be 1/3 of your plate where possible, but focus on free food. And you're reminded, well I was reminded, just how much there is that we can eat. And focus on getting your healthy extra A's right and your healthy extra B's right. And some people were saying, you know, they found it really difficult at first because what they heard was you can have a healthy extra A of cheese and a healthy extra A of milk. But that's not what it says in the book, and it's not what the leader of our group ever says. It's what we think we heard. So for me it was invaluable this morning because it was like, yeah, this is what I believe I heard, but the book's there, or in my case a set of CDs are there for us to check it. And I found this morning, I've come back from the group with a willingness to put the CDs in again and re-listen. Because even when you've been doing, and I think sometimes, not even, but when you've been doing it for a long time, you get really blasé about it. And we start to think we know it. Well, I do. Start to think I know it. And then that's when I start to blur the edges or actually miss things out. And I've actually enjoyed sitting in on a new members talk this morning. So yeah, 9 stone lost in our group this morning, and that's just the start, and we've got 51 weeks left this year. Let's see what we can do in the year. My results for this morning, I actually stuck to plan because from anybody who watches my channel regularly will know I like to do it properly. I am very much an all or nothing person. And if I'm going to make the effort to do it at all, I need to make the effort to do it properly for me. I'm not here to tell anybody else you have to do it my way, because I'm here to say the best results, you'll get the best results if you do it the Slimming World way. So for me, it's doing it properly. It's not slipping things through and fudging edges and disregarding. So I actually made a conscious effort this week, and I've had 4.5 healthy extras every day. That's been a good thing for me because it got rid of a fear that I was nurturing. Because in my head I was messing with the milk, I've told you about that, but I was also very fearful that if I allowed my healthy extra A's to creep up to 2.5, that then my brain would start going push it to 3, push it to 3. Well, this week I made the decision to take it to 2.5 healthy extra A's every day. And actually making that decision and acting on it, I feel empowered by it, because I don't feel like I need to push it to 3. It was enough and I enjoyed it. So I did it. 2.5 healthy extra A's every day, 2 healthy extra B's every day, 15 sins every day. None of those things kind of include added sugar, because you know that I choose to go low sugar. It works for me. Might not work for you, but it works for me. So what happened? I got on the scales, I felt comfortable in my clothes, but then I generally do these days. Got on the scales, hadn't got a clue which way it would have gone. I never ever get weighed at home. Joe has scales, his personal ones. If I wanted to get weighed at home and I asked him to read the scales for me, I honestly think he'd say no anyway. Would you? Would you say no?
No. Yes, I'd say no.
Yeah. Yes, he'd say no, because he'd know I was playing games. So I really firmly believe, and we were told this in our groups this morning, don't get weighed on any of the scales. I mean, our leader's husband, great support in the group, he works in the group every week, and he actually said to us this morning, if I could give you one piece of advice that will help you on this journey, it is don't get on any other scales except these. Once a week is enough to get weighed. If you start getting weighed every day or 3 times a week, you'll mess with your own head. And he said, we threw our scales away. We've been doing this, and our group's been running 5 years yesterday. Or was it 6? Might be 6 years yesterday. My consultant and her husband get weighed once a week on a Saturday morning on the same scales that I get weighed on. And they tell us their results. My consultant lost weight this morning and her husband lost weight this morning. And they're very open. I'm not going to tell you their results because it's not my business, but they're very open if they have a gain, and they'll share why. My consultant started her journey in a Saturday morning group, and she's continued it that way. She doesn't swap between getting weighed at a Saturday morning group and a Monday evening group. She sticks to the one. So Kelvin actually said, if I could give you one piece of advice that will help you on this journey, and I really believe it does help you on this journey, don't get weighed on any of the scales except these. I threw my scales in the wheelie bin when I joined Slimming World. I had talking scales and I threw them in the wheelie bin. Stopped me having to swear at them every time I got on. They were gone. And it'll be 3 years in May since I joined that group, and in that time I have not got on any other scales. And even if I have to go to the doctors today and I need to get weighed, because you know, ladies, what a doctor's like. They'll weigh a woman on any occasion they can. You go in there with earache and they ask you to get on the scales. They don't do it to men. I've always found this really baffling. I mean, if anybody's experience is different to mine, please tell us in the comments, but I've always found that really baffling. Doesn't matter what I go to the doctors with, they want to weigh me. Well, they don't weigh me anymore. Because if I go to the doctors, I'd take my book with me. I'm never more than 7 days away from being weighed. And I would show them my book, and I would refuse to get on their scales, because I know that if I got on my doctor's scales on a Thursday afternoon and they said I was 3.5 pounds heavier than I was the previous Saturday morning on my Slimming World scales, it would mess with my head. So I really thought what Kelvin said was valuable. Got on scales, the one and only scales I ever get on, and this week I lost 0.5 pound. So taking it up to 2.5 healthy extra A's didn't do me any harm at all, but it brought me a lot of enjoyment. And that's about this, that's for me what matters about this plan. I have to enjoy what I'm eating or I won't eat it. I have to enjoy what I'm drinking or I won't drink it. Because if I'm limiting myself to 15 sins a day, and I use the word limiting loosely because it doesn't feel like a minimal amount, it feels generous enough for me. But if I'm capping it at 15 sins a day, and I'm going to use those 15 sins, I am going to use them on something I really want to eat. Now I know there's a fashion in Slimming World to use 4 sins on a Fibre One bar, or 3 or 4 sins on a caramel cake bar, or rice cakes and things are very popular. There's all sorts of things that are popular, and it's horses for courses. But because I eat low sugar, those kind of things just do not enter my food plan. And for me that works, because if I could use, let's say Freddos. When I first started this plan, I had a passion for Freddos, right? And I would have a Freddo every day, 5 sins. Now you ask me today, would I rather have a Freddo or would I rather have 50 grams of avocado? Freddos don't come into it. I know what I enjoy today, I know what benefits my body nutritionally today, and I know what I'd choose today. There's no way I would choose a Freddo over 50 grams of avocado. Calorie wise, they're probably about the same. 50 grams of avocado would be how many calories, Joe, do you know?
80.
About 80 calories. It's nothing, is it? I would choose to sin cheese over chocolate because I love good cheese. I have organic sheep's and goat's feta cheese most of the time because, oh my God, the taste of it excites me. The thought of eating it excites me. Once on this plan, I actually bought some, was it called protein cheese, Joe? I'm looking up the pictures of that. I bought some protein cheese because somebody told me, buy this, it's £4, but you can have 70 grams. No. It's not about quantity for me today, it's about quality. I would rather have 45 grams of a really good organic feta, which costs me £2 for 200 grams. So that would last me 4 days and a little bit. So 50 pence a day. I would rather have 45 grams of that and actually think, oh my God, I am so looking forward to eating this, than to have some cheese that resembles plastic and doesn't melt properly and doesn't taste like cheese.
And that you resent eating.
And that I resent eating, but I can have 70 grams of it? No. I used to love Laughing Cow cheese triangles, but today, given the choice, they don't do it for me anymore. And I think that is the way my plan has evolved. But I like to be excited by the food I'm going to eat. If somebody planned to give me lunch, or I planned a lunch today that was something that was like, can't think of the thing. I mean, I don't want to start listing the things I don't eat because I don't want to offend anybody who does eat those things. But if I had to have a lunch today that was something like, yeah, it might be on plan, but oh Lord, that's not food I enjoy.
Yeah, you don't like fish. Some sort
I'm not the
of fish
biggest fan of fish. So yeah, okay, somebody make me a on plan Slimming World fish pie. I don't want it. I'd leave it. Because if I can't have an off-plan Slimming World, not off-plan, but a sinned fish pie with a good white sauce in it, I don't want fish pie. And it's all a matter of taste, and it's personal taste, and it's not criticising what other people choose to eat. But I like rich, tasty food, and I would rather use 8 or 10 sins to make a meal, my version of luxurious, then I would say let's do a Slimming World version that's free. And I think that's how I've changed on this plan. In the early days I was looking for maximum food for minimum sins, shall we say. And today I'd rather have a little bit of something luxurious and use my sins. Now I'm only talking about my journey. You may enjoy Slimming World spaghetti bolognese made with chopped tomatoes and put loads of veg in it. That's not for me. I like a proper bolognese made with lots of garlic, fine onion, and not too much meat, but not a minimal portion, made the way my Italian frangino would make it. And it might cost me a couple of sins for olive oil, but I'd rather have that and be excited about eating it. And I'm much more now looking towards not what is the biggest portion I get for the fewest sins, which is I think where you go on this diet originally, food plan originally, because you're looking to fill yourself up with food. I don't need to do that anymore because I'm never hungry. I'm never looking to like bulk fill my stomach in the way I used to do, because I always used to look for the biggest thing on the menu or the biggest pile of food on my plate. I'm now satisfied by a small portion of something extremely tasty. So that's just me and my journey, isn't it? And we're all different. And the beauty of this plan is we can all do it differently and still be on plan. Anyway, a couple of food products, or food bits I want to show you this week. Joe discovered a range. Joe loves lentils and chickpeas and red kidney beans and things like that, don't you?
Yeah.
And he discovered a range of food on sale in Asda this week by Men's Health. Now, Men's Health do a particularly good magazine, and I thought that was all they did do. But, and they do exercise equipment, don't they?
Yeah.
But can you show these on camera? We actually had another product, but you won't let it. We had some lentil and beef burgers. Now, the beef in their product seems to be about 3%. But if you could, what's the first one you're going to show?
The lean beef and chickpea mince.
Lean beef and chickpea mince. Now, for the is it 500 grams?
Yeah.
It's 1.5 cents for the lot. Now, you might say, oh, but I could have 5% minced beef and it would be free. This is just something a bit different, and I think that would lend itself to probably a good chilli or something. But it adds a bit of something different to it, and it's a good thing to use pulses and legumes. The other one, Joe, is the meatballs.
Yes.
How many meatballs do you get?
12.
And is it 1 cent for the pack?
Yeah, 1 cent for the pack.
Now, these aren't on the app, but Joe's put them through the SIN calculator. But again, with distress, check it for yourself. The burgers, which were minced beef and lentils, they were free on the app. I think these products are £2.50, are they?
Yeah.
So if you look at the mince and you're getting 500 grams with, is that chickpeas in that one?
Yeah.
You're getting 500 grams for £2.50. That is actually cheaper than buying 5% beef mince.
400 grams, sorry.
Sorry, 400 grams for £2.50 is cheap. And that would lend some different kind of fibre and different kind of protein to your meal. So you'd recommend them, wouldn't you?
The burgers were really nice, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get a look in. You did say there were quite
I
a
didn't
lot of
want
black
to
pepper.
look in.
Quite a lot of black pepper.
Yeah.
But he likes black pepper and I do too, so that's good. That's a different range of food we've found this week. Another thing I want to talk about is eating pickles. We like pickles. And I've always advocated eating lots of gherkins and things like that. I like mixed pickle, you know, with the cauliflower and the gherkin and the onions all in one jar. One of the things I've found since I cut down on sugar was that a lot of pickles are very sweet. This isn't always a natural sweetness because some of them do have added sugar. Now, okay, they're adding it to the vinegar, they're pickling the vegetables in it, but it also adds to, sorry, there's a funny noise going up outside. It also adds to the sweetness of things, which when you go lower sugar, you start to notice. So we were eating silver skin pickled onions. I don't know whose they were. Sainsbury's own. And they actually had added sugar. When we were in Iceland this week buying the new lasagnas, Joe found this jar, if you could show it, and these are Heinz silver skin pickled onions. What weight's the jar, Joe?
410 grams drained.
So 400.
710 the water with the
vinegar.
Pickling vinegar.
Yeah, so it's a substantial jar for £1, and they've got no added sugar. So if you're in Iceland looking at Slimming World products, maybe you'd consider those, because that's good value for money. And the other thing, have you got my pickled garlics?
Yeah.
This is one of my current passions. Pickled cloves of garlic. Free on plan, well, speed, like the onions, speed on plan. And they are absolutely gorgeous. Now, neither of us can remember the price of this jar. And it's not a big jar.
I think they're 79p.
79p. They are, I have 10 at a time. They are gorgeous. And I think one of the valuable things you get from eating pickles is you have to crunch them and chew them. Your body has to work to digest them. And for me, if you can use a speed food that takes more chewing and more processing, it'll fill you faster, it burns better, and that way you're going to cut your calories, eat on plan and get more weight off. Because what do they keep saying now? Increase your speed, it increases your weight loss. But your body's got to work on it. So when people talk about, oh, I made a spaghetti bolognese, but I blitzed a load of vegetables into it because the children aren't keen on veg, you're actually doing the work that your stomach should be doing in your blender. So if you're really blitzing your veg, So
Well, what your teeth
to
should
hide-
be doing as well.
Well, it's
That's the
what you
first
get.
part of digestion, yeah. Like
It's the enzymes and things around your
mastication.
teeth. Yeah, mastication. I'm not sure I like
Chewing.
that word.
Chewing.
If you're doing the work in your blender because you want to hide the mushrooms in there because your husband or your partner doesn't like mushrooms,
You're at 20 minutes by the way.
yeah, I think you're undoing the good work that chewing your food and digesting it can do. Briefly want to mention the Slimmer of the Week basket. We were told at group this morning and reminded again, what we put in the basket must be free. Not healthy extras or sins, it must be free. Now, you may say your consultant doesn't adhere to that rule or she has her own rule, and that's all well and good. But again, I'm just mindful that there are a lot of new people in the group, 19 new people there this morning. One, they're not going to win the basket next week because you don't win it in your first week. Oh, they do, I think. You can, don't they half your weight loss if it's your first week and you're a newcomer? No, you can't be because you didn't lose the previous week. There is some rule somewhere along the line. But if you're in your second or third week and you win that basket as a newcomer and somebody's put in 4 mug shots because they don't want them anymore because they're sin, so they've dumped them in the basket, and you take that basket away, you're going to use those and not count the sins. And are we being fair to the new members if we do that? I don't think we are. So we were reminded gently this morning what goes in that basket, and that Naomi does check before she gives it. What goes in that basket has to be free food. Or speed food, of course, but that's free food, isn't it? And my last point, because I am rapidly running out of time on the camera, if you're going to do this plan, if you're coming back to it after a weight gain at Christmas, or if you're new to it today, remember why you're doing it. You're doing it for you, for your health, for your family, for your wedding, for your holiday, wherever you're doing it. And be careful. Don't let life get in your way. I was doing the reflections tag yesterday and I was looking back over last year. We had a pig of a year last year. I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm reflecting back and I'm sharing honestly. Health-wise, I've never been to a hospital so many times in the space of 1 year, and we've still got more appointments to go. Family-wise, I lost my sister-in-law last year, and she'd been my friend for 30 odd years, and she was younger than me. My baby brother's wife. Went through a lot of other things last year, and I don't always talk about them on my channel because they're private to my family and stuff that happened to my friends, which is very private. But last year was a pig of a year. I was at Target. I still lost £15 to take me to my new Target. I was so determined. I was not going to let any of that get in my way. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. You might think I'm as hard as nails. I'm not a hard person, really. If you justify eating because of what's happening in your life, no, I'm going to change that. If I justify eating over what is happening in my life, I'm making excuses. Because none of that shoves food into my face. It's me that chooses to do that. And I am so proud of myself when I look back over the last year and stuff that we went through that none of you will ever know about. But I didn't eat over any of it. And I'm not saying that because I'm a Slimming World Angel. I'm not saying that because I've got willpower of steel. I'm not any of those things. I'm saying that because I made the right choices. And the more of those choices you make, and the further you get away from making excuses and justifying why you failed, the stronger you get. The more weight you lose, the happier you'll be. At 22 stone, I could not bend down and fasten my own shoelaces. Today, I can practically wrap my foot round my neck.
Saying that, I remember doing that for you as a kid, tying your shoes for you.
Does that make me feel good that he's had to remind me of that? How embarrassing that my child, when he was a child, is now a 6-foot fella, but how embarrassing that he used to tie my shoelaces for me and he can remember doing that. Don't do that to your kids. Don't do it to yourself. You're worth so much more. Let's make 2018 a year of cutting the crap, cutting the excuses and getting stronger. Because I'm doing that And the further I get away from making excuses for why I want to stuff my face, the stronger I get, the easier those, tears, the stronger I get, the easier those choices become. Anyway, that's my passion for this week. I love this plan. I'll bang the drum for this plan for the rest of my life. Only because I want to share what I've found. And what I've found at 8 stone 10 and a half is about 4 stone beyond anything I ever dreamt I could find when I was 22 stone. I thought at 22 stone, if I could make 12 stone, it would be a miracle. That's why I set my first target at 11 stone 11. Today, I'm 8 stone 10 and a half, and I feel on top of the world. And anybody can have this. And it's not hard work. It's just consistency and the right choices. And honest to God, if I can do it, anybody can do it, can't we, Joe?
Yeah.
Because I was the biggest failure, wasn't I, when it came to dieting? All your life you've seen me fail at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going. I've said what I need to say. I've said what I feel passionate about. I hope you each have a wonderful week. And we'll be back next Saturday. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.